I'm here with the one and only Wretch 3-2. How you doing, man?
Oh yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Firstly, thank you so much for coming to Bangor on such short notice.
Yeah, it was random. Obviously, unfortunate circumstances, but we try and make a plus out of a minus, man. You know, pro's a good mate of mine as well, so yeah.
Awesome, man. And we don't get bands very much here in Bangor at all. So when you guys come, it's a massive, massive deal for us. Is it cool to come to a place where it's sort of off the beaten path and we don't get bands very much?
It is, you know, because to be fair, I don't really know what to expect. Do you know what I mean? It's very far out. Yeah. But, you know, just listening to the reaction from what the DJ's playing, I can feel that everyone's up for it tonight, you know, and that's always what you want to hear as an artist or a performer, you know.
Definitely. And what can we expect from the set tonight if people aren't so familiar with your music?
Bangers, sing-alongs, good vibe. Yeah. I think it's important to have a good vibe, do you know what I mean? And just a bit of interaction, but energy. Like, I've got this thing where I feel like I've got the most energy, so yeah.
Definitely, and I mean, today, obviously it's students, so it's a really young sort of audience, and that's really your sort of demographic, I think. Is it cool to come to a place where it's exclusively sort of your people in a way, where, you know, we're all so into that music? Yeah,
it's good, you know, but I don't mind the challenge of winning over new people, so I don't mind when it's a difficult crowd. I like to fight. You know, but obviously when it's the direct audience, then it's all good. It makes it sweeter, yeah.
Awesome. And I mean, we watched you at the big weekend, and you were there with your big band, and today it's just you, your DJ. Yeah. What's the difference between those two sets, do you think?
Well, the energy's still intense. With the DJ set, we get to manipulate it a lot more, so we get to, like, I could hear a DJ play something now, and we're like, okay, cool, we was going to use that track, let's scrap it, let's use this. Like, it's really cut and shape, you know what I mean? We can really switch it up, so we're a lot more flexible. With the band, it's kind of set in stone, you know? I wouldn't say, scrap that or add that or anything, because it's too late, you know, so yeah.
Is there one you prefer, or do you like the mix of both?
I like both, man. I like both. I get a good vibe from both. Definitely. I get something different from the band, and I get something different from when I'm with Smash. But it's still something sick, because I'm performing the records that I wrote and I love them, you know?
Yeah. And is there a particular favourite place you think Wretch 3-2 goes down best, like in the world or in the UK?
I don't think there's a place where I go down the best, but I love Newcastle.
Awesome.
I don't know why, I just want to throw that out there. Newcastle, it's such a nice place, yeah.
Bangor's going to be the new best, yeah.
I love that. Let's do this. Yeah?
Well, anyway, how do you pick the songs you're going to play? Because you've got quite a sort of variety of songs you can play now, and obviously there's things people want to hear. What goes into the set?
Well, you kind of give the people what they want to hear, and you do what you want to do within reason. Obviously, I'm not going to go and do an acoustic to a crowd that are completely pissed. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of got to give and take. You got to gauge it. This crowd sound like they're up for a party, so we're going to go for high energy, bangers, punches and stuff like that. Yeah. Uppercuts and that, you know.
Well, that's cool to hear, and what I really love about Wretch too is it's you're one of the more innovative rap artists, I think, in the sense you're not afraid to change things up. Yeah. Is there ever kind of a fear or an apprehension when you're doing those changes because you're not sure how it's going to be received, or do you just do what you want to do in that respect?
I think I just do what I do, man. Yeah. I think in like 30 years' time, I think I'm gonna look back on the mistakes rather than, you know, looking back on things and saying, I've done that really well. So I try to make minimal mistakes, you know what I mean, as minimal as possible. So I always go with what I feel, because I'd rather lose doing what I feel than what I thought was gonna work. Because if that doesn't work, that will fuck me up for life, man. Yeah.
And what's been your sort of proudest achievement over your musical career so far?
Proudest achievement? Every week, man, something happens. Yeah. You know, like getting a record deal at first, and then, you know, entering the charts at number 5, and then number 2, number 1. Yeah. Then now, like, I'm getting a new, you know, selling out the tour. That was a big buzz. Festivals, big buzz. Now I'm getting a new kick working with new artists. When I'm seeing my artists performing in places, Jules the Poet, seeing perform on Jules Holland, Jacob Banks, open up for Emily Sandé on Jules Holland as well. Like, I get a big buzz out of that, you know, and it's indescribable, man. It's a great feeling.
That's great. And you were saying about the other people you perform with and stuff. Is there anyone? I love how you sort of always mix it up. You always have new people coming in on your tracks. Yeah. Is there anyone left that you really want to perform with or to do a song with that you haven't got to yet?
There's so much people, known and unknown. Like, I'd really like to work with James Blake. I think he's sick. Jai Paul's very innovative as well. I think we'll come up with something crazy. Damian Marley. Emily Sunday again, that'll be great. Like, there's so many different people, man. Yeah.
And obviously that's a wide variety, so can we expect a big change in your music over time as we've seen before?
You can just expect the unexpected, to be fair. It's just about what I go in and feel on the day, that's what I'm going to come out with, you know. Sometimes we have records that we strategize, but not too often. More time I just go in and I'm like, I feel happy today, play some happy chords, mix it up with something dark, give me a drum pattern like this, and then, you know, that's when we're starting from scratch, and then we just come up with whatever we want, to be fair.
Yeah, and your lyrics are really interesting as well. Where do you get the sort of inspiration for your lyrics? Because I wouldn't say they're typical sort of lyrics of your genre. They're sort of interesting and quite subjective sometimes.
Do you know what it is? I've always been a fan of thought-provoking lyrics.
Yeah.
So I like listening to an artist, listening to a record, and then listening to it again, and I'm like, shit, he meant that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? You know, like when you listen to Eminem's Stan and he takes you through that whole story and you're like, oh, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I figure out that was the fan from the beginning? And do you know what I mean? And, you know, when you hear records like that, they're timeless.
Yeah.
Because you always remember not knowing what was going to happen and then figuring it out. And that's the beauty in having lyrics that have depth. You know, so I love it when I get tweets. Like, people still tweet me now like, oh man, you said something on your first mixtape that I thought meant this, now I realise you meant that, you're sick. Like, but I love that, because that first mixtape is 8 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it gives people reason to go back and listen to your music. It's like you find hidden gems. It's almost like clocking a game, but then finding out there's a few hidden stages that you never found, so you get to go back. Yeah.
And do you kind of hope that your sort of fans bring away their own interpretation of your music? Because I've found, you know, that I've related them to my own experiences, which might not be the same as what you were actually singing about. Do you think that's a great thing about music?
Of course, yeah, it's good. It's the only way that we're ever going to get to feel like we connected without even meeting. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And for example, writing a record like Don't Go about music, but kind of pretending that it was about a relationship, and then people taking it and using it as a song to play at their wedding and stuff, you know, for, you know, in terms of a, you know, in a relationship form, when it wasn't even written like that, but that's just the way they've interpreted it. And I think that's what you have to do. You have to paint a picture and let people look at it from whatever angle they want to. You know, it's nice to get my angle, but you might see it a completely different way, which is great.
Awesome. And what is in the future musically for Wretch 3T?
Songs, big songs, just more work, pushing more artists, getting it in, man. Really just trying to make something epic, man. Just started working with a few new people. We're called the Renowned Group. You know, we've got a bunch of artists, contemporary artists actually, who does paintings. George the Poet, Jacob Banks, soul singer. So there's this new artist that I'm trying to champion and trying to push, man, and just get them to where they need to get to.
Great. And we're now going to play one song on our radio station. Any song that you pick that you think sums up the Wretch 3T sound, what would it be and why?
One of mine.
One of your songs.
Okay, cool. I feel very self-indulgent doing this, but I would probably pick Tractor, because it's the first impact record that a lot of people heard me do. Yeah. You know, there was many records before this, but this was the entry point. Yeah. So let's go with Tractor.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure,
and thank
man.
you so much for coming to Bangor.
Pleasure, man. Wicked.
Thank you
Respect,
very much.
Man. Cool.